To see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
And welcome to all of the participants of our introduction of VanillaStack 2009. This is the first series of webinars we do pretty much on a monthly basis then, because VanillaStack is going to be released with new versions every month. We are going to touch on that a little later in the webinar. Today is quite an impressive and awesome day for us because we are going to commercially launch VanillaStack now. And that's why I have Kim Norman Sahm, CTO of Cloudical, here with me. He's sitting in an awesome bureau. Nobody who ever has used Zoom might have seen that background image, but no, he's with us because he's going to first of all support me in all the technical aspects because I'm just a marketing guy, and he is besides that the one who is doing today the presentation. So we are going to set up VanillaStack live on a system, which is going to start in a few minutes. So stick with that, and hopefully, Kim, our tests have not produced a new error. So I want this to work properly. If not, the two of us, we will just treat it as if it was planned. So again, this kind of meeting is going to happen every month now, because every month there will be a new release. Again, we touch that later. Kim, perhaps introduce yourself just with some 2-3 sentences, because I already talked too much.
Just a few sentences. Okay, hi. I'm Kim. I'm the CTO of the company, Cloudical. I'm an ops guy.
Wait, Kim, wait a second. I just get the message that you are not audible. That's not your fault. That is perhaps my fault. Can somebody please confirm whether Mr. Sahm is audible or not at the moment?
Maybe.
We are going to fiddle it out. I mean, it's just technology, and we are a technology company. So, so have you been able to hear him?
Yes, no, maybe.
I'm looking in the chat. Nobody is currently speaking. Give me a second. I need to check that out, but you should be there. Not in Zoom audible. That's a bad thing. Wait, I know where that comes from. It's not Mr. Sahm's fault. That is basically because I used the wrong microphone. Now he should be audible, and I should be audible way better. Is that true? Can somebody please confirm that? Kim, say something.
Yeah, it's technology.
Yeah, modern times.
Now it's working?
Wait. Yeah, we are both audible.
Perfect.
Welcome again. Okay, Kim, please introduce yourself with some 2 short sentences. I hope that's the last fault we have in the presentation.
That's live.
Absolutely.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Kim Norman Sahm. I'm the CTO of Cloudical. I'm a real ops guy. I'm an OpenStack guy. I'm a Kubernetes guy. And I believe the VanillaStack demo today will include Kubernetes and OpenStack, but we will see.
Okay, then Kim, most importantly, since we are introducing our new version, our first official version, let's shortly talk about what's inside. I'm now going to switch over to PowerPoint, and here we see some graphics. So perhaps I give you a very rough overview, and you, Kim, might go a little bit more into detail. So what's inside, basically? Again, Kubernetes, because VanillaStack is an enterprise open source cloud stack. We understand Kubernetes is our operating system. We touch on that a little later as well. You are supposed and able to bring your own Linux. And we touch on that as well, because we have great news in regards to what we support at the moment. Because if you followed us the past days, weeks, you might have noticed that everything we did was based on Fedora, but Mr. Sahm will bring great news today. And everything we do is supposed to be production ready. That's just, the big picture. And now off to you, Kim. So can you a little bit explain what's inside there and what we want to roll out?
Sure. So at the moment, what I said, I'm an OpenStack guy. So this is was my favorite that we need to bring in OpenStack, because OpenStack on top of Kubernetes and Kubernetes on top of OpenStack is a perfect match. For OpenStack, we need for Kubernetes, we need a strong storage backend. So for this, we make the decision, okay, it makes sense to include Ceph deployed by Rook. Cloudical is one of the core maintainer of the Rook project. So makes sense. OpenStack and Ceph are best friends. So we have an infrastructure as a service layer. We have a container as a service. We have a storage layer. We have the container as a service layer like Kubernetes. So what we need also is a PaaS layer. For this, we have a Cloud Foundry included, including Stratos as the UI to manage Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes workloads. Running containerized solutions, we need a registry for our Docker images and maybe a registry for our Helm charts. So we have Harbor included.
Is Harbor already part of the game, or do I need to install it by hand later on?
Harbor is part of the game. You can check during the installer, enable Harbor, yes, no. And then
we showed it later on. So, but no, nothing for me to do by hand in that regard.
Nope.
Awesome.
Click yes and relax.
Go ahead.
So from an operations perspective, the operation guys thinking about, okay, we need something to monitor the platform. We need something around alerting, and we need something to collect our logs. And for this, we are following the typical monitoring and logging solution, EFK and Prometheus Grafana. It's a great combination.
Again, is it already rolled out, or do we just support that? I know the answer, but
would like to roll it out, you can do it by the installer, fully automated.
Awesome.
And then we need some tools around, like Cert Manager, like Ingress. We are using Nginx as the de facto standard. We have the Let's Encrypt issuer and some other tools also.
Yeah, I just delete all the freehand on the slide because it looked awful. Great. Kim, how much effort is in installing VanillaStack? How much do I, as somebody who has not the technical knowledge, need to invest there? Is that actually? Let's start by the question: what do I need?
What do you need? You need the availability or the availability. I don't know. To start a web browser.
Okay.
Start a Docker image or boot in live ISO. This is required.
And if I use a Docker image, you told me that up front, I would also need to have a console on my machine, right? Sure. With the ISO image, I basically have everything in there.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do I need? Do I don't know? Need specific requirements in regard to the environment? Don't know, such as I don't know. Do I need to commission a VPC somewhere? I don't know. Do I need to commission a service by some provider? Is there any requirement in that direction?
You need infrastructure. You need some VMs, bare metal machines.
Question. Then again, what's the minimum amount of VMs for a production grade cluster?
6. We have 3 master and 3 worker nodes.
Okay, we touch on that in a few seconds as well, I guess. And those VMs can be like 0.5 gigabytes of RAM and a quarter of a processor, or is there a little bit more to that?
Yeah, it's so maybe it's starting with a really small setup from 1 CPU and I don't know 4 gigabyte memory. It will start.
Yeah, but it won't make sense, right?
Make fun.
Okay. I feel like if I remember properly, we actually included a check in the installer. You are going to show that as well. We would basically require you to have at least 2 vCPUs, if I remember properly. But let me put it that way: you can set up. I checked that out. You can set up a production-grade cluster on, for example, OVH Cloud. Not with the strongest virtual machines of all times, but in a way that it runs for less than 150 euros a month. Compare that with, for example, Azure. There you have the same kind of infrastructure for like 300 to 350 bucks a month for their managed Kubernetes service. That's quite good to know. Kim, we are talking way too much. Showing is always better than just talking. So I propose that you turn on your web browser and show us if you can work with a web browser and demonstrate the VanillaStack installer. And we are doing, that's pretty important now, we are doing, wait a second, with the screen sharing, wait a second. We are doing that pretty much, not pretty much, we are doing that live. So no strings attached. If something goes wrong, something goes wrong. And having said that, we won't be able to roll out everything now. Instead, we will be rolling out a system consisting of, I guess, Kubernetes and OpenStack.
Yeah.
If that's the case. And we will roll it out now, and we expect it to be done. It's now 10:15. When will it be done from your perspective?
Around about 40 minutes.
Oh, awesome. So then let's start, because if it takes too long, we might be running into issues in regards to time. So go ahead, Kim. It's your stage.
Visible?
Screen is visible. You might perhaps be tempted to increase the screen size a little bit, or the font size a little bit in your VM. I don't know if it is visible to everyone, but what I see is now you started a Docker run, a Docker container, right?
Sure. We are following the how to start procedure from docs VanillaStack.io.
Okay.
Starting the Docker image, we are binding and we are creating a port binding 8080 to 8080 on our local system, and pulling the installer latest Docker image from the Cloudical registry. It's public, and then Docker is starting the image. Image is started.
You don't start it as a daemon here, so you can basically see what's going on. Okay, see. Okay, now it is started. What now?
So, localhost 8080 in your web browser, and welcome to
nice screen. Kudos to the team.
It's designed awesome.
Perhaps that's an insider, because I was doing the front end design. But here again, here are some requirements: minimum of 1 GB of RAM, 20 GB of HDD storage, root access to those nodes, IP address we would need. I see a wildcard domain. Can you perhaps explain why we would need a wildcard domain?
Yeah, we are deploying a bunch of tools, and and some of these tools are exposed to the outside world. So, for example, if I'm deploying a Grafana dashboard, it would be nice if I am able to access the Grafana dashboard.
Okay.
And for this, some endpoints are created, and a wildcard domain makes it very easy to handle this.
Okay. So you don't need to add any kind of endpoint specifically to the domain. It's just resolved towards either the cluster or your load balancer. Okay, then go ahead.
Okay, so we have a small cup of coffee or tea. Check. So we can start, because it's really important. We see some terms and conditions. They show us, yeah, it's a preview at the moment. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to change today.
Sure. So general settings. Now we're talking about which environment we would like to create. It's an HA setup, yes or no. For an HA installation, we need a minimum count of 3 master nodes. And then we are able to say which basic workload should be included in our setup. So for example, we talked about Rook. Rook's deploying Ceph on
Kim,
Kubernetes.
why do we always? I mean, to me, it looks like we cannot deselect that. Why do we always roll out Rook?
So the tools, or we need persistent storage in our Kubernetes
For a production grade environment, right?
Sometimes stateless is not so. Yeah, sometimes stateless is stateless, and some part of software need a state.
I'm totally on your side. It would not make sense to roll out something for production workloads which is actually not production ready, right?
Sure. And
okay.
So for the moment, Rook is the de facto standard of the default storage of the VanillaStack. In the future, there are coming other additional storage solution where we can select, okay, would I like to install Rook or another storage backend? But we are talking about this later. Then we have other two main components. You can say OpenStack or Cloud Foundry. In this demo, we are using OpenStack. Turn it on, and then we see how many master nodes we need. So we have a minimum of worker node count of 3, because Rook needs minimum 3 nodes. Same for OpenStack. So yeah, let's start with 3 worker. We can size it also later.
So one question, Kim, if I don't roll it as an HA setup, you selected that, or it was pre-selected. How many nodes would I need on my environment?
At the moment, 4. If you're saying, okay, it's not an HA setup, the master node count is falling back to 1.
Okay.
So we have 1 master and 3 worker nodes.
But we still have the requirement for the worker nodes to provision properly. Okay, go ahead.
So then the installer creates a temporary SSH key, because the installer needs the possibility to log in to your systems. So to do this, you need to copy this SSH key and insert it into your virtual machines or nodes. So for example, I'm creating a short file. Normally, I need to jump to all the nodes and create the SSH key there.
But isn't there a shortcut for that?
Let's save time. Also,
wait a second. I take away ourselves, so your command line is properly visible. Can you please switch back for a second? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing. What you do? You do that in a loop.
Yeah. Jumping to all my nodes and echo my public key to the authorized keys from my Fedora user, so I'm able to log in.
You are a real crack, you are. Okay, so now it's on the machines, right?
Now it's on the machines. Also, the installer tell you, okay, if you don't know what to do there, okay, how to create a key and insert it into your nodes. And for Windows, you see there is another how-to. And then I need to say, yeah, I copied it to all my nodes. After this, I'm able to click the next button. So now the installer would like to know, where are your machines, how to access them. So I need to type in my DNS names, if they are resolvable, or my IP addresses.
At the moment, I feel like we are expecting IP addresses here.
So type in all the IP addresses. The usernames could be used by the one I typed in. So
typically, it's not a different one, right?
7, 8, all the same.
Okay.
Check. Okay.
Yeah, go down a little bit.
Yeah.
And because you did not do everything you needed to do.
Sure. So now we see all our worker, and we are able to create a mapping. Which tools should be bind to which worker nodes? So for example, Rook needs 3 nodes. Say, okay, sure, assign it to all. Same for OpenStack. If we have more worker available, then we can say, okay, please deploy Rook only to this worker because they have many disks. The other are more designed for running OpenStack. So it's possible to create hyper-converged setups or dedicated nodes.
Okay.
So next. So we see short summary, which IPs we have in use, which user, which role in Kubernetes they have, and which workload is assigned to which node, and we need to validate it. So the installer is checking if the...
Is that doing some magic? Is that thing guessing, or what is going on there, Kim?
This is highly secure what's there is going on. This is an Ansible connection test.
Okay, so we are actually going onto the machines?
Sure. The system is checking if it's possible to log in there and get an answer. And all systems are green. So the installer is able to do his magic. So we need some cluster settings. For Kubernetes and for our exposed services, we need a load balancer. So we are able to say, okay, we are using an external load balancer. Some companies have big load balancing appliances like F5 or something like this. Then we can configure this there and use the load balancer which is available. Or we say, please use an internal IP load balancer. We need an additional IP address for this. So it's a cluster IP. We are realizing this load balancer by HA proxy and keep alive D. So back to the roots, but it's working.
And if you are setting up a non-HA cluster, you would basically be able to use just the IP address of the master node, I guess,
sure.
As well. So it's quite straightforward there.
Yeah. Then we need a cluster domain. What it's required. So my cluster domain. Demo VanillaStack Cloudical.net. Okay.
Looks correct. It's important that that one is properly rolled out here, because if you don't do that, your cluster might not be reachable, and it could even lead into situations where you could not properly set it up, right? Because, for example, in the next screen, we are talking about Let's Encrypt, and Let's Encrypt needs to access those machines from the outset. They need to be something resolvable, right?
Yes. So
go ahead.
The cluster domain is used for all other domains we are using in our cluster.
Okay.
So let's encrypt. We are able to say staging or production.
What's the difference there?
If you are using the staging Let's Encrypt issuer, you always get the message that the
certificate is not to be trusted, right?
Yeah, it's not trusted. For production, you don't get this, but the production, there is a count how often you can request a certificate per week. And if you are do more requests, then I don't know where's the limit. Let's Encrypt will block you for a week.
Oh. So we basically say, just for your testing, just roll it out as staging, although you might get a bad looking SSL certificate error in your browser.
Sure.
Okay.
But for now,
looks good.
Okay. For this demo, you need an email that Let's Encrypt is able to contact you. So, and then we are coming down to the tool-specific configurations. For example, Rook. We can enable the Rook dashboard. We can enable the monitoring. This is important to see metrics in Grafana later. Mm-hmm. And you have your replica level. Replica level means how many replicas of the data is stored in your Ceph cluster. Default is 3.
I guess the minimum is 2. Maximum we've decided for 5, because if you would do more, it would slow down as hell. Okay, cool.
So then we have OpenStack. OpenStack, you see the endpoint. You're able to select which release you would like to run. We are protecting our endpoints by TLS using the Let's Encrypt issuer. And then you have the list of components where you can configure at the moment a basic set. There is nothing to be very specific. CK, we are using the Ceph backend for Cinder. We are using the same for Glance. We have Heat as the orchestration. We have Horizon, there we can CK. Our endpoint later is Horizon, OpenStack, Demo, VanillaStack, Cloudical.net.
That's a long name.
Important here is Neutron, because we need additional interfaces that OpenStack is able to handle this internal traffic and the external traffic. And these interfaces must be correct. So on my system, internal interface ENP2S0 and ENP3. And that's all for the moment. We can start it, and then we can select other tools. So what we talked about, Harbor, ES-No, installing Prometheus, Grafana. We save a little bit time, and I...
please keep at least keep the Kubernetes dashboard checked, because there's something we can show in the end.
Sure. So, Cert Manager and Nginx Ingress are already, you are not able to disable it because it's needed for the platform, and we are able to enable the Kubernetes dashboard, say okay, and now we get a summary. We are able to cross-check what we have configured, and then we have our cup of coffee, perfect.
Yeah. I'm prepared. And
then we say install it. So
awesome.
Now we can enjoy our coffee. The installer is starting, Ansible is running, is waiting.
It now takes some time. We will look back to that in the end, Kim. Ideally, we have something to show. If not, we need to play a little bit the game of speaking things before the installation is done. You keep an eye on that, and you basically give me a message, a heads up when we can show something there. So we still have like half an hour left. I guess it's going to be quite close, but we will see. So then, Kim, we talked about that a little bit, and you already touched on that. And I touched on that as well. We talked a little bit about the supported platforms. Let's perhaps jump into that for a few seconds while the installation is running at the moment. I positioned our faces perfectly. We are currently supporting Fedora, right? Is that everything we do? I mean, I give you an answer already, but is that everything? Or is there more?
We started with Fedora because we are bleeding edge. We are using Kubernetes 1.19. We are using the newest version of Cryo, and we are using the bleeding edge version of Cilium to have all our features supported. And so we are starting with Fedora 32, and it's working great. Since last week, we have additional support for CentOS 8 and for the Debian stream Ubuntu Bionic 20.04.
Exactly, it's currently visible.
Yeah, Ubuntu Bionic. So these three are supported now. And
wait, isn't that Focal Fossa? The current Ubuntu?
Is it Focal Fossa?
Forget about it. The version is 20.04.
Yeah, 20.04, the latest is supported. Is it Fossa?
I feel like it is Fossa.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I feel Bionic was 16 something ish. It's 20.04. 20.04. Just take that. It's 20.04. Okay. We have CentOS there. I see, and Kim, I feel like you can't see my screen anymore. That's why you look a little bit. So now you should see it. Then again, you were a little bit lost there. CentOS, Ubuntu, Fedora, but there is more to be coming, and I'm just
yes, there is
taking
more coming. Should be available on Friday. OpenSUSE 15.2 and Debian 10. So we
awesome.
have the typical Linux distribution supported. We have
Kim, you've just showcased the installer, and it was for Fedora.
No.
Do I need to?
No.
Now I'm interested.
There is no, you don't need another installer. The installer doesn't care which system do you have. The Ansible is checking which distribution family you're using and which version you have, and then the installer knows, okay, which packages he need, which configurations need to be changed.
So I'm
all-in-one
totally basically free in what I use.
Sure.
as long as we support it.
If it's supported, if it's not supported, you can also try it. Can try to run it on Arch Linux. Maybe it's working, maybe not. If not, then you can feel free to create an issue on the GitHub page. Maybe somebody will help you to onboard it.
The same should be true for Linux Mint or something like that. But you wouldn't use user-centric distributions to run it, right? You would definitely use the server versions of those distributions, right?
Sure.
Okay. Kim, another question that I always hear, and I just always give the answer, but I want you to give the answer here because you have more credibility than I have. Where is VanillaStack able to run? Where did we already run it? Where did we check it?
It runs everywhere. Because at the end, what does VanillaStack require? Machines. If they are bare metal or virtual machines, we don't care about it. If it's on-prem or in the private cloud or in the public cloud, we don't care about it. We need to access them by a network, and there should be one of the supported Linux distributions installed, and that's all.
But Kim, then again, tell me, why is that? I mean, if you look at, for example, say Microsoft, the Azure Kubernetes service is just running on Microsoft environment, and it requires a lot of preparations. Or the EKS from Amazon, you have to do a lot of preparations, and you basically sit down, look me in the eyes, and say it runs everywhere.
Yeah,
why is that?
Because there is no vendor lock. We are using the vanilla open source versions to prevent them.
Okay, awesome. Good to know. It's a very important thing. Damn it, here we are. It's a very important message that we are driving there. It runs everywhere. We've checked it on many environments. We will bring out and we will expose over the next weeks some. Wait, I make you visible then again as well because I do not want to be rude. We will expose over the next weeks some how-tos. So I'm currently working on writing a how-to for OVH Cloud, for example, which is one of our partners. We will bring in more how-tos for how you would set it up on top of Azure, on top of AWS, on top of, Norris Cloud, for example. So we are able and we cover pretty much all the cloud environments from small to big. We also cover you if you don't want to run it in a public cloud environment, right? To us, that is very important because we want you to have the freedom in your choice and of your choice. We also spoke a little bit already about the system requirements. So what you would need, and that's a great news, you would just need a supported Linux with container support. Kim, which container runtimes do we support?
Docker and Cryo.
Awesome. We would need to have raw devices for Rook. That might be the real actual challenge for some of us because nobody created a raw device. But tell me, frankly, is it hard to create something like that? Is it something I need to study for, or what do I need to do? Just with a short sentence.
Short sentence, no. Just create. If you have an bare metal system, plug in a new disk and don't create a file system on this.
Don't format it.
Yeah, don't format it. If you are in the public cloud or on a virtualization layer,
just add something. For example, on OVH Cloud, it is, for example, a block storage and a block storage. Just create a block storage device and add it, or an additional disk, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Minimum requirements. We talked about that. 4 gigabytes of RAM, 20 gigabytes of HDD, and more is always better. That's for sure. Kim, we set up the system with some use cases in mind, and basically that's quite obvious. And basically, if you look on what's inside there, so one of the use cases we set it up for is OpenStack on VanillaStack. So we use there OpenStack Helm, right? Wait, I pressed the wrong button. There we go. Is basically OpenStack Helm we have there. Why did we choose OpenStack Helm? Is there what's the magic with that? Why do we insist on OpenStack Helm?
We are Trust Helm as an packaging service for Kubernetes workloads. All our other tools are packaged and rolled out by Helm. And our experience the last years to building vanilla OpenStack solutions. OpenStack Helm shows us that it's a very powerful tool. We are contributing to these upstream projects, and it's a perfect fit for us.
Okay, awesome. So we choose OpenStack Helm. We obviously use Rook or Ceph as storage. Basically, depending on where you look from it, it's Ceph with Rook always. You install it via the App Store or via the installer. Rollout and operations on a fast system could be done. You tested that on a pretty well-equipped system, and you said, Karsten, you are a cheater. It's not less than 40 minutes. I managed to do that in less than 30 minutes, right? Yeah. But that's basically depending on your network connection, on how many machines, on how well they are equipped. In that regard, it plays a lot of role if you roll it out on HDDs versus SSDs. So keep that in mind. And recommended configuration for that is 3 masters, 5 workers. We would expect to have like 20 plus cores for the OpenStack workers. So I'm back. I had to sneeze. And 64 gigabytes of RAM available to the workers. Does it, Kim, those 20 plus cores, is that per worker or is that for all the workers overall?
At the end, it depends on the workload.
Okay.
There is more than better.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense because you do virtualization, right? So if you want to give your customer like a virtual machine with 256 gigabytes of RAM and 8 processor cores, you might need to have that kind of infrastructure available, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So that is basically the aspect there. Then another use case is for ISVs. If you develop software, we use Kubernetes, we use Harbor, we use Rook, we have Cloud Foundry there. Everything is already there. You just can roll it out and it works. We recommend like 3 masters, 3 workers, 20 gigabytes minimum of storage, and that's pretty much it. The rest is basically depending on how fast you want to have those things done. So if you basically feel like you want to wait for a few seconds, then just give it some few processor cores. If you don't want to wait, give it more. And for ops teams, that's the last use case we set up here. Again, it's already everything there, like Prometheus, Grafana, FSec, Jaeger. You can roll it out and it's directly usable, right? And then basically recommendation again, if you want to run, if you want to monitor continuously, have 3 masters available, have 5 workers available, have some storage available, and off you go, right? That's a good thing. Kim, just a short heads up. How is the installation going?
Looks good. Cilium is deploying at the moment on the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is up and running.
Awesome. Is the Kubernetes dashboard already deployed?
Not now. The next minutes.
Yeah, we see. Okay, then let's talk a few seconds about subscriptions and support, because to us and to you, that is obviously a very, very important thing. Let's first of all start with the information that we provide you different subscription models there. You can basically have the trust level that you need. The very, very good news for pretty much everyone just wanting to run it and not wanting to pay us for that is basically you can do that with the VanillaStack Community Edition. VanillaStack Community is the edition that allows you to use VanillaStack for free. Kim?
Karsten?
For free, do I actually don't have to pay anything? Did we agree on that?
This is the idea of open source.
But it's for free.
Yeah.
But then you anyhow need to have no, you don't need a subscription. Okay, but we limited the functionality, right?
No.
Okay, what's then the catch? What's the catch then? Why should when is VanillaStack Community a solution? Well, the catch is if you run it, you would be basically limited to get community support from our support forums. That sounds worse than it is because the name VanillaStack implies basically that we just roll out the vanilla versions of the products. So even if in our community forum is somebody not answering, you can always answer all the great open source communities out there, because we don't alter any products. We don't impose any vendor lock on you. It's not like you can run VanillaStack only with that Linux and with that storage solution and so on and so forth. We run it and we make it available to you with the community versions. We touch on it in a second as well. But what if, Kim, I would have a problem and I don't want to have a subscription? Is there something I could ask for? Some help available? Do you know about that?
In a community?
Yes.
Yeah, call the communities. If you need somebody who's helping you on an commercial support level, but without
any kind of subscription,
try the ExpertCall.
Okay. Oh, good news. And we will touch on the ExpertCall in a few seconds as well. And then we actually made one decision. There's one difference between community and commercial editions, right? We have there the community edition is a rolling distribution, which is great because you always have the latest versions. Isn't that limiting you when you compare it with the commercial versions, or is it a good thing in both directions?
It's a good thing in both directions. So this is how all the other open source contributors also work. You have the community version, which is already new, the bleeding edge stuff. Then you have the commercial version, which is little bit behind the community version, and you have other security scanned update repositories. And
you have basically your commercial support there, and that being a little bit behind is in that regard a positive thing, because you would always know that there is somebody who takes care of it, and everything is thoroughly tested. The community edition is tested as well, but not that intensively, right? So it's a more rolling distribution compared to the commercial distribution. Commercially, we offer that's a big boy in a room. We offer VanillaStack Flat. There you have to pay for the distribution. But please, first of all, understand that as some sort of insurance. You would pay for your insurance, you don't want to use it. So it's the same thing here. You pay a fixed fee per node. That implies something very interesting if you compare that with other commercial offerings. Because to us, it does not matter how much CPU, RAM, storage you put in there. Everything that is basically the deciding point is the sheer amount of nodes. And you can do that on your own via kubectl, get nodes, and basically know what you have to have licensed there. Important, the community edition can also be rolled out in an HA setup. Very important. We do not limit that. You have the same functionality with the community edition. If you decide for VanillaStack Flat, you can have an annual subscription or a bi-yearly subscription, payment intervals. You can start from monthly payment, from a monthly payment interval with a monthly fee, so you don't have to pay like everything at once. Just do that step by step. We know how the situation outside looks like. Quarterly, every 6 months, or according to your subscription interval. So just reach out and ask us. We will help you there happily. You always have your commercial support included there. We provide you with up to 24/7 SLAs if you need that. If you look onto the support level, it is. No, I make ourselves visible and just move the picture a little bit because I want that you see the excitement in our faces. It is a flat rate offering here, as the name proposes already, and that means we give you support for all the products. I repeat, for all the products we deliver with VanillaStack. So if you install something via Vanilla Store or Vanilla Installers, everything. That includes even commercial applications. It includes Kubernetes and the Vanilla installer. Everything is part of that game. So whatever you roll out there, as long as you do that via our tools, it is supported. And you can have different SLAs, Silver 9x5 with 4-hour response time, and Gold 20x7 with 1-hour response time. So just call the team at 4 a.m. Sunday morning and they happily respond. I feel like they won't happily respond, but they will respond. And always part of the game, access to our update service, as Kim already mentioned, those who are a little bit more curated, access to our support forums, and a personal contact. We totally understand that the flat solution might be a little bit too much. Therefore, we offer you the modular solution as well. Again, fixed fee per node. No additional costs for CPU, RAM, or whatsoever. Again, understand what you have to license via kubectl. Here, the idea is to build your own subscription only for the levels you need support for. So if you just need support for Kubernetes, you just need to ask for support for Kubernetes. It's a pay-as-you-go solution. So you can have basically a very short subscription interval. It's basically the idea behind cloud. The shortest subscription interval is 1 month. Then we offer 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and so on. You always have your commercial support in there, 24/7 SLAs, and off you go. We drive there a cloud model. I already mentioned that. You pay for what you need as long as you need it. If you don't need it anymore, then just cancel the subscription. That might be, you might understand that you would then fall back to the community edition. And you might need to do a little adjustment in your environment, but basically your environment, your system you already set up remains stable, up and running the same way it was supposed to be. You don't have any long-term commitments. Again, commercial applications, installer, and Kubernetes. And the SLAs are a little bit more variable as well. So you have bronze, silver, and gold. Already spoke about the silver and the gold ones. Bronze is like 9x5 with an 8-hour response time. So you can basically rest assured that you get a response during office hours, right? That is basically the idea there. Again, access to our update service and access to our support forums is always part of the game. And then the thing Kim already mentioned, the ExpertCall. If you run it on a community edition, or if you run your VanillaStack with the modular subscription and don't want to pay for the other levels you don't need, choose the ExpertCall. That's a pay per incident approach. So you just pay for the incident. You have no fixed fee per node. No subscription is required whatsoever. Again, even for the community edition available. Again, for everything you roll out with VanillaStack, and you can even get support for your own Linux installation. That is not included in any of the commercial subscriptions. For flat and modular, we don't have support for Linux installations, but if you have problems there, then you can always revert back to the ExpertCall as well. So that is a great thing, because then again, your ExpertCall is available with 9x5 and 20x7 support models. And then you are safe. Kim, one question. Is our support basically worse than the support of Red Hat SUSE Canonical? or can we provide the same quality, the same kind of assurance there?
We can provide the same quality. We have highly motivated, real technical people sitting there. They would like to support you.
They are basically just waiting for the phones to ring or the emails to drop in. Okay. Can we give our customers the assurance that they are covered also in regards to security updates and so on and so forth?
Yeah.
Or are they left alone with the community edition? By the way, one very important aspect here, and I just want to make that point. It's always, and we have a webinar, I guess, next to next week in regards to that. The community editions of the products on the internet are not by per se less secure than the commercial editions, because all the commercial editions are based on the community editions. So it trickles back anyhow. We have our own security team that is looking into those things and that is able to work out solutions. So you can basically rest assured on that level as well. Kim, short question. What about the installation? It's running now for 25 minutes.
Yeah, Keystone is deployed at the moment.
Something to show already?
Horizon is the next step.
And Kubernetes dashboard or something like that?
Let me check. And
no worries. You check, and we both speak about the availability because we want to show something in the end. Okay, then very importantly, when is VanillaStack available? Do you know that, Kim?
No.
Today. Yeah, today, because now we need to change the website. But today. The commercial edition, end of this day, we pretend to be a little bit safe, so September 30th, but it's pretty much available. The forums, open today. Yeah. Documentation, it's ever growing, frankly, today. So you can today start with your community edition. You can, I guess, we won't have it before September the 30th. Start with your commercial edition either today or tomorrow, basically depending on the last packaging that is going on, and then off you go. But Kim,
yeah,
is that all for VanillaStack?
No, there is other fancy stuff coming up.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about a little bit about the roadmap, and I just give you an insight in what we communicate so far, and then the both of us do something we don't want to do. We just talk personally. Nobody is here, and you tell me when specific features might come. Okay? Okay, good. Fedora Ubuntu in a 20.09 final version, which is available today/tomorrow. OpenSUSE Debian CentOS 20.09.01. When will it be available?
End of this week.
Okay, awesome. So pretty much it is available. What about commercial Linuxes? Do we support them? Do we have a roadmap there?
Yeah, there is a roadmap to support Red Hat Enterprise Linux and SLES in 2010. Should be available in technical preview in 2 weeks.
And the Vanilla Store, it's already running internally. Let's be frank on that, but we want to polish it a little bit more. So it will be available in a technical preview of 2010 then again. Is there, Kim, it's a very important question. Is there an upgrade path if you now install 2009 towards 2010 with the store, or do you have to reinstall everything? Are you left alone?
This is not a problem. At the end, the Vanilla store is just a pod running inside of the Kubernetes. We are preparing an update path how to integrate the Vanilla store if you are started with the 2029 release.
With the current version.
It's not a problem.
Okay. And Kim, now we are alone. Just the two of us. Is there anything else planned that might be amazing, interesting, might be where somebody might want to look forward?
Maybe. So, for example, if you are interested on you have Kubernetes workload. The most of your components are running in containers, but for some sidecar stuff, you need a virtual machine, and OpenStack will be an overkill.
What? How could OpenStack be an overkill with 64 gigabytes of RAM and 20 processors? I could not imagine.
Never.
So what is the thing you are now talking about? Do we basically abandon VanillaStack, or what do we do?
Maybe we are including something called KubeVirt, so that you are able to spin up virtual machines directly by using Kubernetes.
Wait, Kim. We include KubeVirt into VanillaStack?
Yeah.
When?
The next release.
And we support it then?
We support it then. Because it's a great project.
But Kim, most of the other Kubernetes distributions do not support that.
Tja. I don't understand why.
Strange thing.
Many users.
Okay, so we will support it in 2010?
Yeah.
Okay, one question. When is 2010 going to be available?
Preview mid of October, and then go production end of October.
Okay. And there is an upgrade path?
There is an upgrade path.
Okay. Is there something else we don't want to talk about, but perhaps it sneaks out of your mouth?
There is a lot. Maybe for some users, could it be interesting that there is in the next release also NetApp Trident included. So if you are running NetApp storage already, then you have an easy plugin to include your existing NetApp storage appliances to the VanillaStack.
Okay,
as an
awesome.
Alternative to Rook-Ceph.
Okay. And what about, Kim, if I don't want to fiddle around with downloading a Docker image and running it, or downloading an ISO installer? Is there something planned?
There is
perhaps not in the next release, but a little later?
Yeah, there is something coming up in the next weeks, month.
And what is it?
We call it remote installer or cloud installer. That makes there is a service available which makes it very easy to deploy, for example, cloud installer VanillaStack directly in the public cloud by using AWS, Azure, and something like this.
So we would do everything there?
Yeah, the VanillaStack cloud installer is doing all the stuff, creating infrastructure things and configure.
And if I go back to what I said pretty much in the beginning, where I said, okay, just from the infrastructure perspective, if you run VanillaStack on top of a perhaps not perfect, but kind of initial setup in non-HA, whatever, it would cost you less than $100 compared to $350 or more than $300 on, for example, Azure. That would be true then as well, because you would just pay for your VMs, right?
Yeah, sure. And you have the full control of all your virtual machines.
Cool
instead of using the Kubernetes as a services.
Okay. And with Vanilla Store, we will give an answer to updates as well, right? That is the reason why it is to be rolled out over the next weeks, because we need to make it bulletproof and we need to make it full safe, so that even I can use that, which is the most challenging thing. Kim, what about the installation?
So installation is still running, but we can access the Horizon dashboard.
Then Kim, start the screen sharing. I switch over to you.
So we see the VanillaStack installer is still running. We can try to access the Horizon.
Interesting. You can basically access already things without the installation being finished?
Yep.
Awesome.
Demo VanillaStack Cloudical.net, I believe this. Yes, yep. There is popping up the security issue because we are using the Let's Encrypt staging.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about that because we just used a staging certificate, not the production one. Okay.
This is why we get this error, and we trust it and have a look if it's popping up. And there is the OpenStack dashboard working.
And you just installed that?
I just installed it.
Okay.
So we can.
What about for example the Kubernetes dashboard? Is that already running as well? Should be available if it is already there. Should be available via k8s-dashboard.demo.vanillastack and so on and so forth. Would you mind checking that? I don't know if it's already deployed. No, it's not there. No, but it will be there then later on, because the installation order is something that is one of the mysteries in that product. So, and if you just look at that, and let's stop it here then now, but if you just look on that, what you are currently seeing, like there's failed retrying things, perfectly fine, because it just takes time for the pods and for the infrastructure to come up. So you might ignore that. It will later on change. And then, for example, your OpenStack, what is it? Nova pods might be there, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So the pods need some time to start. There is a wait.
Yeah, you have that quite often. So nothing to worry about. That's part of the game. Okay, Kim, awesome news. Great stuff. And I feel like we showcased something today. I like that guy there. So let me switch back to PowerPoint and let me share my screen again with you so you can see what I'm doing. That's not for the participants, that's just for you. So again, just to wrap that up. VanillaStack 2009 is working, is available as community edition today, commercial edition latest tomorrow, ISO image, Docker image, everything is in there. It rolls out. It perhaps takes some time, but within 40 minutes, actually, we already had parts of OpenStack up and running. The Kubernetes cluster per se was running, Rook was running, because it would not have been possible the other way around. So basically, it's done. 2009 is in that regard done. There will be 2009-01 by the end of the week with support for the other distributions, because today we support Fedora and Ubuntu. The other ones are coming by the end of the week. Great. And frankly, and to be honest, awesome work by the team. The team is working day in, day out. Kim, if you would lower your head the same way as I would do, everybody could see the shadows under your eyes. But it's an awesome job. It's a great job by the team. And we are so proud of them because, again, it is just an amazing thing to see something like that become true. It's the first step of the vision. There are many steps to come. And our vision, to make that short, is give you your own cloud stack without vendor locks, without worries, and everywhere, right? That is our vision. If you want to learn more, head over to vanillastack.io. If you talk about that, use the hashtag VanillaStack, and frankly, expect so much more. Kim, thank you so much for the time you spent with us today. I know that you have pressuring appointments as well, because the work goes on. VanillaStack development won't be stopped today. It just was the beginning. So thank you for your time. Again, thanks to the whole team. Thanks to all the participants today here at Zoom and on the social medias where we shared that as well. And I'm so much looking forward to the next steps. There's so many great things to come, and we haven't even touched them. So thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so much to everybody participating in here again. This presentation is available pretty much immediately now on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And yeah, let's push it. Okay, guys.
Perfect.
Thank you again. Thank you for participating. And enjoy your VanillaStack 2009.
Will be great.
Bye.
See you.